Friday, June 18. Welcome to CGN News. A boat with migrants aboard crashed into a seawall in Pompano Beach Thursday as police chased it. More than 14 people were arrested. Some jumped into the water before authorities arrested all of them. This is the latest incident in an increasing number of migrants trying to cross the sea. The migrants from several countries, including Jamaica, Haiti, Trinidad and Tobago, and the Dominican Republic, reportedly arrived on U.S. shores in a rickety vessel. One detainee with a Jamaican accent told WPLG-TV and Local 10 News that they were fleeing violence in Jamaica. He said the group first traveled to the Bahamas before heading to Pompano Beach in South Florida. Barbados estimates that the coronavirus pandemic has set back tourism-dependent countries by 20 years and is calling for natural disaster clauses to be written into agreements between small island developing states and their borrowers. Prime Minister Mia Mottley was addressing Wednesday's IMF Forum on Natural Disasters. She agreed with IMF official Kristalina Georgieva that such countries have been among the hardest hit by the pandemic. Mottley said without such clauses, natural disasters will continue to trigger adverse effects on these economies, which will not have the flexibility to cope with such incidences. Prime Minister of Barbados Mia Mottley says at least 13 houses have been damaged, 6 with full roof losses as a result of a freak storm Wednesday night. Mottley said there are also reports of fallen trees across significant areas blocking main highways and subsidiary roads. She stressed that public works contractors have been mobilized to clear the roadways. The Prime Minister added that the government will be seeking to assist residents who need help in repairing the damage. Jamaica's Health Minister, Dr. Christopher Tufton, has announced a delay in the administration of the second dose of the COVID vaccine for people under 50 years old. At the weekly COVID conversation, Minister Tufton said priority is being given to the vulnerable. The second dose of the vaccine becomes due 8 to 12 weeks after the first. Those affected by the delay are now in their 8th to 10th week since their first dose. Tufton says efforts are being made to secure additional vaccines to administer the second doses by the 12th week. People under 50 who were advised to show up for their second dose this weekend should disregard the advisory. Prime Minister of St. Vincent, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, says COVID-19 vaccination can be ordered for workers and the law allows for persons to be fired if they refuse to be vaccinated. Gonsalves, also the Minister of Legal Affairs, said that in the case of public and private sectors, the employer has a right to have a safe and healthy place of work. The government has ordered all unvaccinated public sector workers to present a negative COVID-19 test and told them to be prepared for testing once every 2 weeks. But the Public Service Union has dismissed the government's policy as another attempt to force people to take the COVID-19 jab. Figures released by the Health Ministry show that 20,324 vaccines were administered. The target was 50,000 residents by this time. Coronavirus infections have halved in Havana since Cuba started administering its experimental vaccines in the capital a month ago, official data shows. Cuba, which has a reputable state-run biotech sector, has not imported any vaccines but hopes to be among the first in the region to have vaccinated its whole population by year-end. Critics say that Cuba's plan against COVID-19 hinges, though, on whether the vaccines prove effective. Authorities have yet to release efficacy data for its most advanced vaccine candidates from late-phase trials, but have said they hope to do so this month. Cuba has 5 experimental shots in various stages of clinical trials. The United States Embassy is closed today after President Joe Biden yesterday signed a bill that was passed to Congress to set aside Juneteenth or June 19 as a federal holiday. Quote, as the 19th of June falls on a Saturday, the United States Embassy in Kingston will be closed on June 18th, end quote, the embassy said in a news release yesterday. Quote, all visa and citizenship appointments previously scheduled for June 18 are cancelled. Applicants will be contacted with further information regarding scheduling of those appointments, end quote. Overseas now, two wealthy American lawyers who pointed guns at Black Lives Matter activists marching past their mansion have pleaded guilty to misdemeanor charges, a court official has said. Mark McCloskey, who ran across his lawn and threatened protesters with an assault rifle in the incident last year, was fined $750 on Thursday for fourth-degree assault. His wife, Patricia, was fined $2,000 for misdemeanor harassment after brandishing a handgun at the protesters. There was no evidence that either had been threatened by the protesters. The couple became a symbol of the gap between conservative white Americans and black people seeking justice. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un says his country needs to prepare for both dialogue and confrontation with the United States. North Korea had snubbed efforts by the Biden administration to establish diplomatic communication. Kim was speaking at a meeting of senior leaders in Pyongyang. Kim's relationship with Biden's administration has so far been fraught with tension. Prior to the U.S. election, Biden had called Kim a thug, and days before the inauguration, North Korea put on a show of force with a massive military parade that showcased a new missile. In April, Biden said North Korea was a serious threat to global security, prompting an angry response from North Korea. Kenneth Kaunda, Zambia's founding president and a champion of African nationalism, has died. He was 97. Kaunda's death was announced Thursday evening by Zambian President Edgar Lungu. Zambia will hold 21 days of national mourning. He was admitted to hospital on Monday, and officials said he was being treated for pneumonia. Kaunda came to prominence as a leader of the campaign to end colonial rule of his country, then known as Northern Rhodesia. He was elected the first president of Zambia in 1964. During his 27-year rule, he gave critical support to armed nationalist groups that won independence for Angola, Mozambique, Namibia, and Zimbabwe. Famously, he danced with then British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher at a Commonwealth summit in Zambia in 1979. Although he implored her to impose sanctions on apartheid South Africa, Thatcher remained a steadfast opponent of those restrictions. That's it for CGN News. I'm Scott Wilson. Thanks for watching.